Okay, hello, good morning. We are live and we're talking about strategies for building resilience as a solopreneur. I'm attempting for a second time to go live on Instagram at the same time as Facebook, and I think it's working this week. So, hello, whether you're watching in the Facebook group or on Instagram, really good to see you. So, my name is Anna Lundberg. I'm a business mentor and coach, and this is a free little session, probably about 15-20 minutes today, looking at strategies for building resilience as a solopreneur. So first of all, of course, what is resilience? Why do we need it? Well, it comes from the Latin, apparently resilience, which is the ability to bounce back after the inevitable setbacks. As a human being, in fact, but certainly as a solopreneur, as an independent business owner, you are going to have that inevitable roller coaster of ups and downs, whether it's in the fortunes of your business in terms of the clients you have and the income coming in. You'll have dips in confidence. You'll also have, of course, things going on in your personal life. And so that roller coaster up and down is inevitable. But there are things we can do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. There are things we can do to reduce the extremes. So in a way, dampening the highs a little bit, which doesn't sound great, but actually it does help. And also then reducing the lows. And I want to talk about three things today. First of all, the business model. And it might not seem crucial or relevant to talk about the business model when you're talking about emotional resilience. But actually, if you're not doing the things that are going to make your business successful in the first place, we can do all sorts of things in terms of self-care and support and helping ourselves build resilience. Ultimately, the business is going to fail. And so we're going to need a whole lot of resilience, right? And do say hi if you're watching live and let me know if you have any questions as well as we go. I can just about see the comments here on Instagram, hopefully, and I'll double check on Facebook as well. So first of all, business model. Secondly, we'll look at what you can do yourself. So in terms of your mindset and taking care of yourself. And then third, we'll look at the 5 types of support that you're going to need in your business. And I've got a little mnemonic for you for that. But let's start with number 1, the business model. Now, this is such a big topic. And of course, we can't go into the detail today. Lots of other resources available. So let me know if this is an area where you're struggling or if you have some questions. But the first question is to really think about, okay, do you have the business model in place that is going to get you to your goals? So that includes the type of clients you're working with, the service offering you have, the pricing. If you are hoping to hit a particular goal and the things that you're offering at the prices that you're offering them at is simply never going to ladder up to those income goals, or you need thousands of clients and at the moment you only have 1 or 10 or even 20, or you have a tiny audience because you're just starting out, or even, now I don't have a huge audience. So for me to get 1,000 clients right now would be pretty tricky. So asking those questions around your business model, are you trying to do kind of a cheap course that goes out to thousands, but you just don't have the audience that's going to match that? Are you trying to sell to a group of people who, by definition, perhaps don't have the money, can't afford, or aren't willing to pay for your service? So the type of offering you have, the type of clients you're working with, and the pricing. Look at those elements. Just ask yourself some of those questions. And again, let me know if you get stuck on that piece. The other piece about the business model, of course, is diversification. And this can be tricky because if you're trying to do too many things at the same time, then that can, of course, stress you out. You can get even more overwhelmed. It's effectively building multiple businesses at the same time. But if we think of the dreaded COVID time, the pandemic, if your business was fully offline in person, that caused huge issues for you, right? And lots of businesses had to move online. If you had both online and offline, you're pretty resilient in a business sense to those changes. So if you are thinking now you have a particular or have had a service that was going to consumers, with the cost of living crisis, they're perhaps not spending money on that particular thing that you're offering, then of course having another target, perhaps then a business to business offering, will really help you to navigate those ups and downs. Hopefully when one business is or one stream of your income is going down, then the other will go up. And finally, another piece on the business model is seasonality. So I worked with a client last year who was in the wedding industry. And as you can imagine, lots of weddings in the summer, not so much the rest of the year. And I think it was, Christmas, New Year's was quite a busy period when all the brides had been proposed to, I guess, brides-to-be. And that was a busy period too. So you have a couple of options if your business has that kind of seasonality. Either You can hustle, hustle, hustle during that high season and earn a lot of money. You know it's going to be intense, but then you can take the rest of the year off. Hooray! Or you might need to or want to consider something else. So in the case of the wedding business, we looked at, working with universities for their graduation ceremonies or birthdays or anniversaries or anything else that's kind of spread out throughout the year. And so look at the kind of business you're in. Obviously with corporate work, there is also some seasonality. The summer period, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, people aren't around so much. Christmas period was always huge for me when I was working in perfume because that's the gifting period. So we were super, super busy then. And, so think about the nature of your business. So that's the business model. So thinking about the clients you're working with, the offering you have, the services, the pricing, the seasonality of the business and the industry, and how can you kind of set up your business in a way that you are more likely to weather the storm. Now, obviously, a pandemic like COVID, the Ukraine war, these are things that we hadn't predicted necessarily. Certainly I wasn't aware of those things coming up, unfortunately. And political changes, socioeconomic dynamics and so on can have a huge impact. But what we're trying to do is at least within sort of a relatively realistic, uncertain environment, what can we do to safeguard against those ups and downs, right? So number one, business model. Number two then is what you can do as an individual, as a solopreneur, as an independent expert. And it starts with your mindset. And this might sound naive, but I think it's really important to be optimistic. And I think perhaps we have that energy when we first start a business. Oh my goodness, I've just finished my coaching certification. I've just quit my job and I'm so excited and I've got all these ideas. And then, maybe you don't get as many clients as you thought you would. People aren't coming to your training sessions that you're doing. You're losing a bit of that enthusiasm. It's really important that we retain the hope and the belief, the faith that things will work out. Yes, it can and will probably take longer than we think, but having that long-term vision and purpose and knowing that we're in it for the long haul will help us to overcome the setbacks in the short term. So the first sale is to yourself. If you don't believe that what you're doing is important and meaningful and will succeed, then it's a tricky one, but unfortunately, probably that sort of negativity will spread and it won't succeed. Of course, when you're struggling and when things aren't going to plan, it's really hard to hold on to that optimism. And that's why we'll talk about the support structure that we need in place in a few minutes as well. But an optimistic mindset and a growth mindset. So you may be familiar with Carol Dweck's work. A fixed mindset is the kind of attitude that, let's be honest, we were given at school, I think, very much trained into you're good at maths, you're not good at sports, you're good at writing. So I'm not good at sales. I'm just not a marketing person. I'm not confident on camera, whatever, and I never can be. That's the fixed mindset. This is who I am genetically. This is never going to change. The growth mindset, on the other hand, is, this is a challenge. How do I see that as a learning opportunity? How can I get the help I need to overcome it? No, I don't know how to do this yet, but I can learn. How can I fill those gaps? So again, it might sound a little bit naive and idealistic, but try to take a breath, take a step back. Hopefully it's not the end of the world. These things can seem quite dramatic in the moment, but okay, things didn't quite go to plan. What can I learn from it? What can I do differently next time? So that's really, really important as well, the growth mindset. And then #self-care. I know it's really overdone, but it's so important. And specifically, I want to talk about sleep because my goodness, as a mum to young children, I'm currently once again through a phase of being interrupted in the middle of the night. Bad sleep is so debilitating. There's studies that show that it's as if you're drunk way above the limit and all these things. Of course, you're not going to be able to stay positive, do the work you need to do, and be resilient if you're not sleeping. So a real foundation of well-being in your sleep. Find things to do that will energize you, bring you joy, and help you feel more confident, right? Usually those things are likely to be fresh air, nature, dancing, creativity, music, something that recenters you, that reminds you of what's really important and puts things a little bit into perspective, but also reinvigorates you to come back and again address that challenge, right? So taking care of yourself, such an important foundation. So that's what you can do as an individual, your mindset, optimism, growth mindset, and then taking care of yourself. And then finally, I want to talk about the 5 types of support that you need. And some of you will be familiar with these. I talk about them in my book, in my program. I've got the A, B, C, D, E to help you remember. So the first one is accountability. I've just been to the gym. I played racquetball today. I went for a run yesterday. I did a lower and upper body gym earlier in the week, etc. And I'm counting my macros at the moment in my diet. I have a coach that I'm working with. We do a weekly check-in and we look at the numbers and so on, because I have certain targets I want to hit in terms of strength and fitness and at the moment weight as well. And so I have that accountability structure in place. As we all know, if we want to lose weight, get fit, these are such vague goals. No one's going to sort of tell us off, because it's our own motivation that's important. So unless we have that external accountability, then, unfortunately, things often don't get done. So having the accountability to show up, whether it's a mastermind group you're in or an accountability buddy or a coach, whatever that looks like, having someone to hold you accountable. You can do it publicly if you want to be brave. That's really helpful. So that's the A. The B is belief. You want and need to have someone who believes in you. Hopefully that's you. But again, when we have those dips in confidence, it's so powerful to have someone go, oh my gosh, that's happened to me too. You are amazing. You can do this. And that kind of really builds us up again. So having people who believe in us, that's the B. The C is the community. Whether you're part of, let's say, my Facebook group or a paid community, a mastermind, a local community, it can be so powerful. And one of my first experiences as I was considering starting my own business, and I had quit my job at the time, I was still wavering a little bit. I was looking at some job interviews and things and going along, and was an event that was put on, and I cannot for the life of me remember who the career coach was, what she talked about. What I remember that evening was meeting other people who felt the same as me. They were in a corporate job, successful on the outside, should have been grateful, but there was something missing and they wanted to pursue something that was more aligned with their purpose and passion and so on. That was a game changer for me to be part of that group of people who felt the same way. I didn't feel alone anymore. And to have that community is so important. It can be more specific as well. When I wanted to write a book, I'd go along to writing courses and writing meetups and co-working and so on. If you're just dreaming, oh, I'd love to write a book, and then people say, oh yeah, me too, that would be amazing. It just seems like an unrealistic goal. Yeah, it's a pipe dream, I'm never going to do it. On the other hand, if I'm listening to podcasts, if I'm going along to events, if I'm getting to know other people who are out there writing books, have written books, then it normalizes it. And you're part of that community, the peer group, and you're spurred on to achieve those things as well. And again, if people have gone through the same difficulties and so on, then they'll be able to empathize, which is really valuable too. So that's the C. Then the D is disconnecting. Some of our friends, let's face it, and family don't know what we do exactly, don't care. And that's great, because it means you can go home at the end of the day, or in my case, I am home already. I can go out maybe with friends, and they might say, how is work? And you'll say, yeah, good. I'm working on my next book, or I've got a new program starting. I've got this client, and then that's it. You might rant if things aren't going so well and so on, but they will really help you to talk about something totally different. The latest, Traitors episode on TV, or whatever it is that you have to chat about, something that's totally outside of your business, and that disconnection is so, so important. And then the final letter, the 5th in the alphabet, is E, which is an expert. So if you are stuck, and we talked about the business model and pricing, so on before, look for the specific support that you need. Now, when you're starting out, you might consider, for example, an end-to-end program like mine, where you really get the support to transition out of corporate into having that pipeline of clients and having a viable business model. Or as you get on, you'll discover that there are certain gaps. Maybe you really lack confidence in showing up on video, and there is an expert who could help you with that. Maybe you're feeling you're not so good at sales, as many of us would say, and that would be an opportunity there. So really looking for the gaps and to see what kind of expertise you need. And that could be in the form of a course. It could be just Googling or using ChatGPT these days, or it could be working with a coach or joining a program. So coming back to the beginning then, we've talked about 3 big things you want to consider to build resilience. The first one is looking at your business model. And actually I want to build on what I said, because we talked about the services and the offering and the client target and so on, the pricing. But it's also the actions you're taking, and that kind of comes full circle to the E that I was just talking about, the expertise. When I am not doing so well in my business. I'm at the bottom of that roller coaster. I'm feeling a bit hopeless and, oh, it's just not going so well. I'm not earning as much as I want to. If I then don't know what to do to pick that back up again, to get the income, to get the clients, I'm just going to have that negative spiral. And again, the business won't do better. I'll just get more and more stressed. If, on the other hand, I have recurring tasks in my project management software that tell me every day, right, I'm connecting with this many people on LinkedIn, I'm following up with the warm leads, I'm going live on Instagram, whatever those steps are, hopefully they're the right steps, but at least you're taking action, you're getting more visible in front of people, and you are talking to prospects who could become clients. Now, generally we talk about sort of a 90-day cycle. It's going to take you about 3 months, 12 weeks, give or take, to see the impact of the work that you're doing. So if right now you're having a bit of a down time, that probably means you weren't doing the work 3 months ago. The good news is if you start today, come, where are we, April or so, you'll really see the wheels are turning and people will be coming to you, right? So you will have been more visible, you will have had those conversations, and you'll really see a difference in how the business is performing. So when you are most fearful and want to lean back, lean out, is when you need to lean in. And I promise you that taking action is one of the biggest things that helps you feel confident and develop that resilience. So number one, the business model, the pricing, the clients, the service offering, and the actions you're taking. If you don't know what actions to take, then make sure you're looking for an expert or someone who can support you with that. So number one, business model. Number two is you as an individual, working on your mindset, optimism, growth mindset rather than that fixed mindset, really looking at challenges and setbacks as learning opportunities and upskilling and looking for those things that could help you become better at what you do so that you will develop confidence and the business will evolve, and taking care of yourself. Go to bed earlier. If you know you're going to be woken up early by your child or you have to get up to do whatever, then, just go to bed earlier. I'm pretty boring these days. I tend to have a very early bedtime, but as a result, I'm getting pretty decent amounts of sleep despite, interruptions throughout the night and throughout the week. So sleep, taking care of yourself, fresh air, exercise, and so on. And then finally, the 5 types of support. So A for accountability, B for belief, people who believe in you, cheer you on, C for community, D, I can never hold that finger up, D for disconnecting, and E for expertise. Hope you found this session useful. I'll be doing more in the coming weeks. Do let me know if you have any questions on this one, on building resilience, on challenges you're currently facing, perhaps on the business model piece. If you are happy to go on by yourself, then amazing. Of course, if you want to talk about how I can support you in a paid capacity, then let me know. And any other topics you'd like me to cover as well, do let me know. So send me a message. I'd love to hear what your key insights were. And I hope to see you in one of my communities sometime soon. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.